Hey, what is up, guys? Today is April 28th. This is Mr. Allen, and today we are going to be concentrating on volume, but in worded questions. So not just straightforward, you have to actually read the question and figure out how we're going to find the volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the questions in the comment section or in the description below. So I'll see if you can't hold in the description, I'll pin a comment and I'll leave it at the top, but that's what we're going to be doing. So for these questions, I want you to go down to the comments or the description and read them with me while I read them out loud. But before we do that, we're going to also be doing Buck. Remember when I went over Buck before, it's B-U-C-K, box in the question, underline the important information, circle vocabulary words, and then knock out information you don't need. Now, some questions will have K, some questions may not. They might just have only information, but B, U, C, those are the three main ones. So just going to jump right into it. Also, all of these are volume, and the formula for volume is length times width times height. So when we work with them, eventually we're always going to need to know length times width times height, or we're going to be using one of those three to figure it out. So first one, if we go to the description or comments, it should say, in northern Minnesota, an ice sculpting company cuts cubes of ice from frozen lakes and shapes them into ice sculptures. Sorry. Each ice cube has a volume of 1 cubic meter, and they are packed in a trailer shaped like a rectangular prism for transport. Now, anytime you see the word prism, it just means a 3D figure or 3D shape. So when you see rectangular prism, it says that rectangle is like a 3D, or volume, which we're working with. So that's a key word to know, hey, we're working with volume. The bottom of the trailer can be filled with a layer of 9 ice cubes. If 2 layers will fill the whole trailer, what is volume? What is its volume? All right, so if we're doing Buck, we start with box in a question. We know it's going to be if 2 layers fill in the whole trailer, what is its volume? Now, if we do underline important information, this is going to be information that not necessarily it's important, but it doesn't have like vocabulary words that we need. It's just information that's useful. So that one for us would be to underline. It's going to be the bottom of the trailer can be filled with a layer of 9 ice cubes. And then circle the vocabulary word. That's going to be each ice cube has 1 volume, or has a volume of 1 cubic meter, because it's telling us we're working with volume. Now, what I like to do with these questions, there's a lot of information, is I like to draw everything out. So we start from the beginning. We already know the K, or the knockout, is going to be in Minneapolis. We don't need it. So the first thing we're going to need to know, it says each ice cube has a volume of 1 cubic meter, and they are packed in a trailer shaped like a rectangular prism. So if we go here, this would be your trailer. That's going to be our rectangular prism. And we know that it has cubes in them for each ice. Now, if we start looking at the numbers, the first one we see is the bottom of the trailer can be filled with a layer of 9 ice cubes. So what's that saying is that the bottom, just the bottom. So let's say this is like the bottom of that trailer. It's a flat surface. So the surface area is going to be 9. So when we think about area, what would be the formula for area? It's going to be length times width. So we know that it's going to be 9. So we know the surface area, or this right here, is 9. And let's keep going. So we know that length times width. We don't know what the length is, we don't know what the width is, but we know that the surface area, which is the same as length and width, is 9. So we know when we put these two together, we can just put a 9 here. So volume is equal to 9. Let's see what else we have. Volume is equal to 9. And then it says 2 layers will fill the whole trailer. So remember, we're cubic, we have one layer, two, so two layers, or the height of it. So we have, this is 9, and then we have 2 layers. It's going to fill the entire container. What is the volume? So we know, we don't know the length or the width, but we know the area, which is length times width. So we know this already is 9. We know the height is going to be 2 layers. So all we do is multiply area times height, or 9 times 2. We know that the volume is going to be 18. So for number 1, it's a lot of information, but again, I really recommend drawing out each step, writing the formula that they're asking, doing buck, and it's really going to break down what they're asking you. So for number 1, you should have 9 times 2, and you should get 18. Now, number 2, it says Carl placed his plastic measuring blocks in a box that is shaped like a rectangular prism. Again, rectangular prism is like a 3D figure, so rectangular 3D, so when it's volume. The blocks are shaped like cubes, and each block has a volume of 1 cubic inch. So again, in there, we know that each block within it is just 1 cubic inch. Carl completely covered the bottom of the box with a layer of 42 blocks. So we know this is the container, and at the bottom, we know that it's 42 blocks that take up the bottom surface area. So again, think of this. This is the bottom of like an entire box, and this surface area is 42 blocks. So what is the volume of the box if 5 layers of blocks will fill each entirely? So we have our surface. We know that there are 5. We know the area is 42. So again, we don't know the length, we don't know the width, but we know that the area is 42, which is length times width. So 42 times, what is the height? We know that the height is 5, because it's 5 layers. 42 times 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1, 210. So we know the volume is going to be 210. Again, really recommend buck, drawing it out, and you're really going to break down each step. Bonus points. What would be for buck, what would be the box in the question? It would be, what is the volume of the box if 5 layers? That's the only question there. For underlining important information, it would have been Carl completely covered the bottom of the box with a layer of 42 blocks. Because again, it's not a vocabulary word, but it's information that we need. It's important information. And then circular vocabulary would be volume of 1 cubic inch. So we know we're working with volume. All right, number 3. Margaret makes necklaces out of cube-shaped beads. Each bead has a volume of 1 cubic centimeter. She keeps the beads in a jewelry box that is shaped like a rectangular prism. So we know we're working with volume again. The jewelry box has a height of 6 centimeters. The bottom of the jewelry box can be completely covered by a layer of 60 beads. What is the volume of the jewelry box? So again, these will be the necklace. I'm your math teacher, not your art teacher, so this isn't the best. And then these necklaces would be placed in that jewelry box, and it's going to be 1 each. Now, buck, what would be the question for that? It's going to be the last thing. What is the volume? So we know we're trying to find volume. Again, at that point, I would find volume equals length times width, just so I have it in front of me at all times. Underline important information. It'll be the jewelry box has a height of 6 centimeters. So we know the height is 6 centimeters. The vocabulary word would be, each bead has a volume of 1 cubic centimeter. So you know, we're only working with volume. And then knockout would be the first sentence. Margaret makes necklaces. We don't need to know that. Now, it says we know that the height is 6 centimeters and that the bottom of the jewelry box covers a layer of 60 beads. So again, think of this, just surface area is going to be 60, and length times width. That's going to give us the area. So we know the length times width, which is the area, which is 60. We know the height is 6. 60 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. You add a 0 to it, 360. All right. So what I'm going to do is I have 3 more questions down in the description. I'm not going to go over them. I want you guys to pause it, write out each question, try to use buck on it, box, underline, circle. Also try to draw it out, really try to imagine or put an image there so you can really work it out, and try the 3 questions. And again, pause the video. It's really going to help. This is really going to help you for tomorrow. And all right, you guys did the right thing. You pause the video. So number 4, you should have said Dave makes watch face out of cube-shaped beads. I don't know how he does that, but that's what Dave does for a living. Now, the area should have been 15 on the bottom of the jewelry box. The volume is, or the height, I'm sorry, not the volume, the height is 9 centimeters. So we know it has 9 centimeters high. So 15 times 9, 15 times 10 is 150. Minus 15 should have had 135. Number 5 should be Brandon placed his juice box in a lunch box. Now, the area or the length times width, which they don't tell us, it said it covers the bottom. So we know its area is going to be 8. It has a volume. I keep saying volume, I apologize. It has a height of 5. So we know 8 times 5. We know the area times height is going to give us 40. Number 5, the volume should be 40. And then number 6, in South Carolina, a Fortnite Renegade toy company packaged figures in rectangular prisms. So again, we know that the bottom surface area is going to be 25. That's going to be area. We need to know what the height is. The height is 11. So 25 times 11, or 25 times 10. You just add a 0, it's 250, and then you add another 25 to it, 275. So that should be it for the first 3. Now, I want to go over the second set. So you're gonna have different variations in IXL of the same question. So I want to go over another set of examples to make it a little bit easier for you. Give me 1 second. All right. So for number 1, again, in the description, you should say Sunday's powered laundry detergent is sold in cardboard cube-shaped boxes. Each box has a volume of 1 cubic foot. Okay, draw it out. Each has 1 cubic foot within it. Now, Janelle works at a grocery store and stacks these boxes in a bin for storage. The bin is shaped like a rectangular prism when we're working with volume and has a volume of 30 cubic feet. If 15 boxes will completely cover the bottom of the bin, what is its height? So if you notice, they flipped the question on us. They actually gave us the volume and they gave us the surface area, and now they're asking what is the height. So what do we do here? If you feel like you know, again, pause it, work it out. But what we do, this is why I'll preach this forever. Always write out everything, write out the formula. So we know volume is equal to length times width times height. They gave us the volume already, which was 30. And they said that the surface area at the bottom, which is length times width, was 15. So I write it down. So 30 equals 15 times height. Now, previously, when we had volume equals length times width times height, once we get all of these, we just multiply them, we're done, we get the answer. But on this one, if you notice, the height or the letter is also beside a number. So we went over this before, but basically all you need to do is get the letter by itself. So the way we would get this letter by itself is whatever number you have on the same side as a letter, You just cross it out, completely erase it, and you do the opposite of the operation that's happening. So we have 15 times h. So what is the opposite of multiplying? It's going to be divide. So instead of multiplying by 15, when you cross it out, you're going to go on the opposite side of the equal, and you're going to do divide by 15. So we'll cross out multiply by 15, go to the opposite, which is divide by 15. So we have 30 divided by 15, or 15 bracket 30. And we have the h by itself. Now we can work it out. 30 divided by 15 is 2. The height is 2. You are done. So I want to go over another example like that. All right, so mail is placed in cube-shaped boxes that each have a volume of 1 cubic foot. These boxes are then stacked in a mail truck. So again, this is the mail truck, stacking them in 1 cubic foot. Now, the mail truck is shaped like a rectangular prism, which you can see there. The bottom of the mail truck can be completely covered by a layer of 105 boxes. Again, think of the surface area, it's 105. This is surface area at the bottom, which is also length times width. So they already gave us length times width. Now, the truck's volume is 630 cubic feet. So they gave us the volume again. And it says how many layers of boxes can fill the entire truck. So again, volume equals length times width times height. We know the volume is 630, so I'll put 630 equals length times width, which it told us was 105, times height. Again, we have a letter and a number. If we want to get the letter by itself, we just erase the number, and we do the opposite of what the operation is. So it's multiplying by 105. So on the other side of the equal, we do the opposite, which is divide by 105. 630 divided by 105. So many of us don't know our 105 timetables, but we know how to add. So 105 plus 105, if you write that down, you're going to get 210. So 105 times 2 is 210. You add another 105, you should get 315. So we know 105 times 3 is 315. We add another 105, we get 420. So we know 105 times 4 is 420. Now, let's say we were to keep adding. You put 105 underneath it, add it. You see if you get 630. If you don't, you put another 105, add it. And eventually, you should get to 6. So you're going to see that 6 times 105 is 630, or 630 divided by 105 is 6. So again, if you don't like dividing too much, you can always just add and keep adding until you get that number. And then yeah, so the height should be 6. And then you're done. Now, number 3. Zane works in a bank and handles boxes of rolled coins. Each box is cube-shaped with a volume of 1 cubic foot. Zane puts the boxes into a safe that is shaped like a rectangular prism. So again, well, I didn't draw it, but you get the idea. Draw that rectangular prism. Really helps out. The safe has a volume of 24 cubic feet. A layer of 6 boxes can completely cover the bottom of the safe. How many layers of boxes can fill the entire safe? So they didn't say the word volume, but they said how many layers of boxes, which is the same thing. So I want you guys to get familiar. They may throw some words around. That's why I like to draw it out. Because then you say, well, layers, what are they referring to? You know that they mean, they gave you the volume, they gave you the length and the width or the area. So when they say layers, they must be referring to height. So again, write it down, volume equals length times width times height. And so the volume was 24. So 24 equals, I said the surface area at the bottom was 6. So we know that's 24 equals 6 times height. Again, we have a number and a letter. You just cross out the number and you do the opposite of what operation is happening. So it's 6 times h. We're gonna have to erase the 6, and then we do, instead of multiplying by 6, we're dividing by 6 on the other side. 24 divided by 6, you should get 4. So I'm gonna do the same thing. There are 3 questions below. I want you guys pause the video to bug, draw it out, because the wording, I feel like this is the biggest area of opportunity for the group. We're reading the question and breaking it down is, one of our challenges. So pause the video, take your time, really work it out. And then if you have any questions when you're actually doing IXL tomorrow, feel free to message me. But I'm gonna need a picture of Buck and what drawing you did. So tomorrow, if you have any questions, you're gonna have a lot of questions worded like this. If you're messaging me, I'm gonna need the Buck to see what you did for Buck, and also the drawing that you did before you ask me a question. I want to see you actually sit down and think about it first. All right, so boom. You guys just pause the video. You did the right thing. You tried the following 3 questions. Now, number 4. Should start with Ella goes to a sporting goods store to buy a new softball helmet. So again, they give you the volume, which is 32. They say that the surface area is at, but what they say, I believe they say at the top instead of the bottom, but it's still surface area. So we know that the length times width is 8. 32 divided by 8. You should get 4. Number 5, Blake has toy elephants and sold in cardboard box. Yeah, and sells them in cardboard box, cube-shaped boxes. Each cardboard box has a volume of 1 cubic foot. So again, you should say 15 boxes completely cover the bottom. So we know that the surface area or area is 15. I believe they give you the volume of 90. So volume is 90, length times width or area is 15. We need to find out what the height is. Carry the 15 over, or you just cross out the 15. Either the opposite of multiply and divide. 90 divided by 15, you should have got 6. If you're not that good with division, just 15 times 1, or 15 plus 15, which is 30. So that's 15 times 2. You add another 15, that's 15 times 3. You add another 15, that's 15 times 4, so on and so forth, and you should have gotten 6. Now, the last one should say, start with comic books are placed in cube-shaped boxes that each have a volume of 1 cubic foot. Same thing again, they give you the bottom surface area, which is 65. They give you the volume, which is 260. They don't give you the height, they want to know what the height is. Divide 260 by 65, you should have got 4. Yeah, and that's it. You have any questions, go back over the video. I really recommend drawing and the volume. So these 2, really imagine or draw the image, and you should be good. And yeah, thank you for your time. Have a good one.